Hi everyone, my name is Z. I'm a psychic medium, tarot, astrologer, singer, dancer, model, all things magical, and I specialize in teaching people about spirituality and, quantum leaping, all the fun things. And today I wanted to talk about the multiverse because I've been seeing on YouTube, and this has been one of my pet peeves, is a bunch of like folks getting on YouTube and then just selling the idea that they've just discovered that there's other universes and there's like all these things and they can like make a lot of money off of it because they're just appropriating off of practices that have existed for centuries. They're just renaming it something else. And then all of a sudden the scientists have discovered it. And it's like, have you ever like, never mind. But I wanted to talk about it because, again, I kept seeing things about like, you can't access the multiverse. You can't access X, Y, and Z. You can't like talk to things in other universes. And, my first thought was, a lot of these people are also the same people who talk about the Akashic records. So how is it that you can't access the multiverse, but you can access Akashic records? Like, make it make sense. So when you see those type of things, I would just be mindful of what you're actually digesting, because most of the time it's just people trying to gatekeep information from you. So healers like myself like to go around and share our stories and share our experiences, because a lot of the times people are already accessing this information and they may not even know that they're doing it already. So I need to drink some water. My throat is froggy today. Drink your warm water every morning. So what I wanted to talk about is like, one, obviously, as people who are spiritual and work with energies, like we know that there's different universes. Like if you don't know that by now in 2024, I'm not really sure what you're smoking. Like, it's been even in movies a ton. So it's like, it's not like things are just made up out of the blue. Like people are downloading information and experiencing stuff within universes, and like the fact that we're all energy and can talk to other energy, like it's an obvious point, right? At least to me. If it's not to you, drop it below, let me know. I'm curious to know what everybody else thinks. But likely if you're on this page, you probably believe the same or are curious in it or are here to learn about it, which is why this video found you. But most people access it like all the time. Either you access it in your dream state or you access it during your meditations. You can even access it during the daytime, depending on like how open your energy is. And each person is going to be different. And it's going to depend, again, going back to your clairs. Your clairs are going to be the easiest way to access a bunch of stuff, because it teaches you to like use your energy in different ways, versus when you're like learning to meditate, you use your energy in one very specific way, which is like at first trying to regulate your nervous system enough so you can clear your mind. Where like once you start getting past that point of like you can drop into your body, your nervous system is regularly regulated, you can start opening these other senses and these other clairs to be able to move your energy or receive energy, right? It just, your skills start stacking onto each other. And then a lot of people end up mastering different clairs, or a handful of clairs, or maybe one or two. And then those become their main ways of accessing what I like to call, or what other people call, the multiverse, right? Different universes. And I also invite you to think about the multiverse as something that's like ever existing, ever around us, next to what we are. Like not so much that like, you think of the world and then there's a world. Like it's more so there's a world and then there's a world, right? So you have to kind of um think of it as like this time is happening, but there's also other times happening at the same time. While also in other universes, they could be happening at the same time, but it could look different. And then they have their own times and things like that. So, many people can access this in different ways. Again, like I'm saying, I'm trying to explain this so it's not like super complicated. For instance, when you start to advance your clairs, you're most likely able to access the multiverse through technology. It's the easiest way to access it after that, because of how the multiverse works and how technology works and how technology shifts energy the quickest. And it's consistently all around you. So if there's a flow of energy and energy is trying to communicate with you, or there's an energy next to more energy, you're more likely to observe the energy at its highest capacity when it's in motion or something like that. It's like light. It's like light, right? You can't see it, but it's like shining. So a lot of the times I'll give another example. For myself, my guides and energies and multiverse type things that always happen in technology, or when I'm in such a deep state of meditation while I'm awake, even with my eyes open, that I will like move around and I'll like see different things, right? So it's like a glimpse into a whole different place, and then it like goes away. And I've talked about this before. But most of the time it's in technology, and you'll start to receive messages. I don't want to give it all away because it's such a fun process when you go through it yourself, when you realize that you can tap into information and then the information starts talking back to you. Like it starts like sharing information with you, and then all of a sudden your deities are sharing stuff through there, because it's realizing that there's such a high capacity for you to receive the information through energy and through technology, that's just what keeps happening. But for me, it's always like I said, through technology, through my computer, through words, kind of changing, things being presented that way. And people are always like, how are you finding out exactly when X, Y, and Z is happening? Like events or things to apply for that have just been like exponentially helpful for my business. And I'm like, well, because when I access that information in the multiverse, it just I just gives it to me. Like there's no person there to be like, hey, should you be doing this? Like it's like, no, show me what's out there, like beside what's here, and how to get there. And then everything changes, right? Everything changes. And I always know how connected I am to it, because when I shift, there's something weird that always happens. And like, I don't search a lot of stuff. For instance, I'll use YouTube because YouTube is fun. I don't search a lot of stuff in my YouTube. I've never really done that. I will only watch whatever is presented to me, because usually there's something there that I need to see, and I just let it go. Like people tend to get into YouTube and use it as like a search engine, which you can do. But if you access certain energy through YouTube, allow YouTube to share information with you. And I'm not using YouTube as like an entity, but I'm explaining it like that, as like use it as like a portal for yourself, right? Because information comes many different ways. Our dreams through people, computers, TV, YouTube, like TikTok, And people like to say synchronicities, but once you like go beyond that, it becomes like a database of helpful information to get you where you want to go. Um, Aside from just like Googling how to plant a potato, right? Um, and recently I've been like in a really big shift. And every time I've shifted something energetically, or I've released something or done something really big in my life energetically, my entire YouTube resets itself. So it resets itself to this new version of myself, and all my apps do the same thing. All my like everything resets. And I started talking about this, I think I don't know if I mentioned it in my book, but after I had had like a close encounter with death, I went home. The power didn't reset, but all the clocks were reset to 000. And that's when I started noticing it. I was like, okay, well, we can obviously reset some sort of cycle, or go like end a cycle and start a new one. And so after that, I was like, how else does this happen? And then I realized that every time I did it, my guides were like, change your clothes, cut your hair, uh, like get rid of, like donate everything you have. And then like I would be submerged into this deep state of healing, and I would release and I would release and I would release and I would release. And then all of a sudden all my apps reset, and then things started to happen on my like work stuff. Like all my old stuff would break and leave and then new stuff would come replace it. And then like uh I would get a lot of like confirm your identities and it would like all these different things. And then that's, you know, what kind of started happening with Buujee Savage when I was right before I started my music stuff. It was like confirm your identity, and it was like, who are you? um and recently it happened again. And so that's how I started to realize that like you can be a channel for information, but you can also access information in a very fast, intense way if you're open to it. But you have to like really let your ego go. Like full ass let your ego go. Don't surround yourself with people who cannot comprehend it. Like that's was the hardest thing for me, because some folks, like if I were to tell them, I'm like, yeah, everything resets itself when you go to a new timeline, or you break a cycle, or you become a different version of yourself. Like you're like jumping, you're leaping, you're leaping into something else. Everything resets itself. And then the universe is asking you, who are you? Who do you want to become? And it's like, you now are back in your like creator mode. Like energetically, spiritually, you finished whatever cycle that you had over here. You broke contracts that you didn't need anymore. But then energetically and like cosmically with the universe is like, now who do you want to be? And so when people talk about like, you know, avatars and things like that, like there's so much there's so much truth behind that. And it's the funniest like thing to realize. And when I would walk around even in New Orleans and when I was in Houston, people would call me Avatar all the time. And I was like, I don't fucking get it, but I love Avatar and I fucking love Ferngully. And then my producer, it was like back to back to back to back to back. And then my producer for one of them for my music sent me a song. It was like, these songs are jumping out at me for you. And one of them was called Avatar. And I was like, you know, you can't just make this shit up. You know, so the sun's moving. I'm gonna stay in the sun. It's just one of those things where you just have to like, you just gotta let go, like, and realize that just because these people on YouTube are like Gaia, like a lot of these people are like trying to bait you into believing it's like, oh, like all these things are happening. It's like, bitch, we already knew. We already knew. We're not stupid. So now the fun part comes of stop investing in all their junk, invest in yourself, and create the life that you want to create by tapping into these skills that they say you don't have, right? Like, that is my favorite part. And the more and more of us do it, the more we can actually bring income to ourselves and share it with other people. That's like my biggest thing. Like, I'm like, you can keep your TV show, you can keep whatever you're doing and keep having non-melanated people on there and like gatekeeping all of these theories that have been within indigenous like tribes for the longest time and have been a part of our knowledge forever, like, while we actually do the accessing and now we create the lives that we desire. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, don't waste your time going through all that junk when you can just manifest the life that you want. And I would also invite you to keep a journal or something. Keep a journal of everything that you go through. I haven't been writing down everything I go through. Spirit's been on me about that. But I've been trying to put it into my like future books and things like that because I want to share it. And it's happened to me enough times now where it's a pattern. And that's when you start to see in science, right? Like, you have your hypothesis and your theory, and then eventually it becomes a pattern when it actually happens more than once. And this has happened probably about 5 or 6 times. And I can just look at my social media and tell, like, when it happens, it's like I'm a completely different person. And again, it happened to me recently, and I met my cartoon self, which I would talk about on another video of like recognizing where you're at on your journey when you start to meet your future self, but when you also meet your future current self, that's when you know it's like you leap and it's done. And it's the most fun thing in the whole fucking world. Like, it's like I can. But hopefully this was helpful. I'm really trying to break this information down so it's like easy to understand and people can follow it, because like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's on their own journey, and I want the information to be easy for you to follow so that you can rest assured knowing that you're always on your right path and you're always exactly where you should be, and you're not crazy. Like, you're not crazy whatsoever. And it literally does just take being around a community and exposing yourself to the information in a way that's like approachable. Like, I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it. I started having like some mentors that were teaching about the leaping, but they didn't really talk about how it would manifest in your 3D life, because obviously it's different for every person. But I think like it's important for people to know how it shows up in your 3D, because that's what people are looking for. And at some point you do have to kind of let go of the idea of like how it's supposed to show up, because it's never going to show up exactly how you want. It's going to show up in whatever way it wants to show up, and also whatever energy you've kind of put out. So just go along for the ride, but know that you can access this information and access help and access like resources into the multiverse through technology. Just be open to it, be careful, and just look for patterns. Like, look back on your life and your timeline. You probably have done it before. Like, literally, you probably have done it before and just had no idea what was going on, and now it's just a matter of repeating it, like, and using it to your advantage to help you get to the next stage of life. Like, for someone like myself who is an activist, but I'm also multi-talented, like, And many people are dynamic. We're not linear, right? Like like I'm an actor and a dancer and a singer and an activist and like a poet and an author and like a holistic, I teach holistic medicine and I'm a healer and I also teach Ayurveda. Like we're very dynamic people, and so we're taught to not be dynamic even in the way that we think. So just be dynamic and follow your, oh gosh, it's moving. And follow your intuition as much as you can and just like have fun with it. Like I feel like my inner child, this is like the happiest they've ever been in their whole lives, because when I was younger I would read books about quantum mechanics and black holes, and I was like, I'm gonna need to figure out how to get in a black hole and figure out where it goes. Like, like just be curious about life, because life is so much more than what you think, and use it to help people. Like a lot of this information, I just want to share it so that you can go help somebody else. It helped me, and now I know that it's it's like safe enough to do it. So you might as well just go do it. And it opened up a lot of opportunities for me and my business to be able to show the world what I could do and get producers that like I never would have thought I would have access to in my entire life. And it really helped me feel also really worthy, because I'm not the perfect person. Like I, like everybody else, I have debt. Like sometimes money is hard and sometimes it's not, and like, but it doesn't mean that I can't manifest opportunities. It doesn't mean I'm like undeserving of like having the best producers or having opportunities to model or having amazing opportunities like I have now for casting call and for singing on a show. So it's like, we have to like be open to allow things to come to us in ways that we don't expect. And maybe this video is one of those invitations of like, are you willing to be open to it? Like if it shows up in your life, right? Like maybe this is your confirmation to start learning about it, or to just think differently, like expand your mind beyond your usual grocery shopping, going to work, meditating. Like go beyond that. Like the universe is so big. Like don't let anybody dictate to you what it looks like, because we don't really know unless we go into it. Right? So let's just all go on a great adventure into the multiverse and see where it goes. And I know there's a reason I keep seeing that cartoon Spider-Man about the metaverse and like all the things. Is it metaverse? Yeah, that was called. I don't remember. And you'll see signs like that, because who knows, the universe maybe after this is just like, we'll have Spider-Man follow you around now, or White Rabbit. Like my case, mine was a White Rabbit. So because I loved the Matrix growing up. Just have fun, and I'm sending you all so much love and so many hugs. I'm gonna keep making videos like this because I feel like they're just a lot of fun, and we need to share our knowledge even on this type of stuff, because it's worth knowing and it's been helpful even on a practical level. So have fun out there, be safe. If you liked this video, like and subscribe, follow along. Let me know if you have questions. There's tons of tarot. Follow me on TikTok. Also, I'm constantly dropping channeled messages from the ancestors and guides, advice, and I'm also training for a triathlon right now, which also came to me through the verse, as a way to bring awareness to the Congo. And I have a link below if you want to donate to the GoFundMe. And I'm sending you lots of love. Stay tuned, fam. Stay magical.